Well, hello, hello,
Hello,
hello.
hello.
Hello, hello. How are you?
Hey guys, welcome back to Conversations with the Lovebirds.
We're the Lovebirds,
I'm Darlene
Darlene
Bird.
and William Bird.
We're the Lovebirds. We love people and we love love. We're back for we're just talking. We're back for another conversation with the Lovebirds. We've been in a little bit of a different series as we're in this love month. We have been exploring different topics like still in love and bringing in some couples to share topics like finding love later in life and finding some of those couples who can talk to us about that. We're even going to have some couples to talk about the second time around. The first time was not so good, and maybe they took different paths, and somehow they found their way back to each other. So various love stories to share. So thank you guys for joining in. Come on in the room. Come on in here with us and join us as we start this conversation. So we're super excited today.
Yes.
We're excited too.
Excited.
I'm always super
He's always
excited.
super excited.
Don't mind me
I
right
love
now.
it.
Some housekeeping. I'm pasting, posting, and sharing.
Yes.
So,
We've invited some friends to share with you today. We're excited about them. We're going to let them introduce themselves a little bit and who they are and what they do first, and then we'll get into a little bit about their love story and some
yay.
things they want to share with us today. So, welcome to our guests, the Greens, today.
Team Green in
Team
the house.
Green.
Thank
Welcome
you
to
for having
Green.
us. We're excited to be here.
You
Yeah.
guys look great today too. Look at them. You
Thank
you
you.
look like a unit. Look like
Well,
a
we're trying to say teamwork makes the dream work. So
That's
we're
right.
Absolutely.
coordinate for y'all today.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm Anitra. I guess I'll start. I'm Anitra Green. I am Terrence's wife, and I am a licensed clinical social worker. I am a new business owner. I own a mental health practice called Tailor Made Behavioral Health Solutions, and I also have other work that I do, and I'm excited about this new journey, all things mental health, and we are going on 5 years of marriage this year. So we're coming up on a milestone in June. That's very exciting.
Beautiful.
And I have a daughter. We have a daughter, Amari, and a dog, Abby. And I'll let you introduce yourself.
And I'm Terrence Green, and this is my lovely wife that just introduced herself. And I am a teacher of 22 years. This is my 22nd year of teaching.
Wow.
I have been teaching everything from pre-kindergarten up through 12th grade over those years, and have enjoyed
Wow.
it. Um, like Anitra said, we're celebrating our 5th year of marriage, and we're really excited about what's happened so far and what's going to happen in the future. We both have our own businesses. My business is called FLAG, Foundations for Learning Academic Greatness, and it's an academic enrichment tutoring business that specializes in helping kids with virtual learning through video games.
No. Wow.
Man.
Okay. Very
It's
good.
busy over here.
Yeah.
I want to. I just
Y'all
want to. Yeah. Good. Okay. Good. I just want to impart to you. First of all, I want to say, Terrence, you being a teacher, and of course, Nietzsche, you being in the mental health and clinical services area. I believe that both of those positions are very frontline things. So I want to thank you both for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think that both of those occupations really are very much into the front line of everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On
Yes,
the
thank
front line
you.
of everything.
Mhm.
So thank you for your services.
Thank
All right.
Thank
you.
you.
So we want to get into this green love story,
Yeah.
Mr. Team Green. So why don't you? Who wants to start? Tell us a little bit about how you met.
You want to take this one first?
Okay. So we met on an online website called Interracial Dating.
That's funny.
So we were both
That's
looking
funny.
to find our soulmate. We had both been at a point where we were kind of tired of going through the process and tired of looking and searching, and we just wanted God's best, and we wanted it yesterday.
Yeah.
And so we both decided that we were going to venture into the same website. And we found each other on the website because of a colleague of mine who encouraged me to stay on the website. In fact, she said that I know that you're going to find your soulmate by the end of this week. So stick with it, stay on the website. And I just know that you're going to find your wife on there.
Whoa.
So I did that. And
Hey,
I
oh, we got
said,
some-
2 more
we got
days.
some-
And then by the time Thursday
got
hit,
some hold on 1 second, Terrence. We got some listeners.
okay.
And you said, how would you like for somebody to say you're going to find your mate by the end of the week?
Yeah.
You're going to find by the end of the week.
Amazing things.
I think Miss Baxter was I know Miss Baxter was prophesying, and we invited her to our wedding. But I'll let Terrence finish. It's funny though.
That's so
Yes.
funny.
It's funny
And
how it
the interracial site, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So
Go ahead,
we
Terrence, I'm sorry.
yeah. So we decided that we were going to meet up, and we met up at a bookstore called Barnes and Nobles, and we had a great discussion there. I came with a bouquet of flowers for her, and we just hit it off. And
I was impressed.
we decided that we wanted to talk and see each other again. And before you knew it, we were going to Phyllis Hyman concerts. We were going to, various events, and really we're spending every weekend just enjoying each other's company and enjoying some of the new things that we could explore as a potential couple then.
Okay.
And that evolved into.
I want to know.
Well, I'm itching for some questions.
No, first of all, I want to know how many people.
I swore I wasn't going to go online. Oh,
How
people was
many
telling me
people
for a
right
long
now? How many people in our audience right now? You just went and searched interracial. Tell the truth. Say me.
interracialdating.com.
I'm missing a whole niche over here.
It's a whole niche.
You'll find your mate in a week.
In a week.
Who knew? And the interesting part was, I just want to add really quick that I was so opposed to online dating. People have been telling me for a long time, and I'm like, that's not for me. That's not for me. And after my 40th birthday, I saw somebody's post and they said, I met my husband on interracialdating.com. I never thought that I would meet someone, right? So at the time that Terrence's coworker was telling him to go on there, I saw a post that week of Valentine's Day that said, we're getting married. And I thought, I never heard of this website. Why nobody don't talk about interracialdating.com?
Signing up right now. People are signing up right now.
And yeah, and then I said, well, let me go on here and just see the dating pool, right? Me and Terrence had different ideas of why we went on interracial dating, but I went on there and I was like, well, let me just see what this site is about. And I was on there maybe like a few months, maybe 4 or 5 months. And I said, I'm gonna give myself 6 months on here. And I met Terrence month 4, maybe. So our timing, and the thing is, we live 20 minutes apart. I was in Newcastle, Delaware. He was in Wilmington, Delaware. And when I read his profile, I thought he made it up. I was like, this dude, catfishing. Something. I wonder if all of his information is accurate.
Right.
You wonder. And I said, well, you know what? He looks like a good fit. So, this the whole platform thing that you do. And we ended up communicating. And I think we talked like 3 days after Valentine's Day. I think it was like the 18th or 17th. And then he was like, let's date. I love that. He was like, listen, let's get offline. And when can you meet me? I'm like, when you available? He was like, this Saturday.
I love it.
Okay, I'll see you this Saturday. And I was like, okay,
let's go back to that first date. The first date, you said you were impressed. What was it that impressed you with that first date?
Well, it was, first of all, it was the bouquet of flowers. I have to say that I was like, that it was different. I was like, okay, I've loved flowers. So when he came and he walked up, he had this big bouquet of flowers, and I was like, +1. He got some cool points for the flowers.
Okay.
Then the conversation was good. It was different. I think it was the most, I think when you're dating later, so let me go back to the later in life. We were 40 and 41 when we dated, and dating looks different at every stage. This was a very mature grown woman, grown man conversation. And
Okay.
it was something like, okay, what do you see yourself? You know, what do you like? Right. It started out with that, but we were very real and honest the first date. I'm like, what is your purpose for dating?
Very good.
I never asked that on the first date. He was like, I'm going to be married.
What's the question? What you asked him? What was his what?
What are you looking for in dating? I mean, I asked online. We talked about it on the phone. But what is it that you're looking for? He was like, a partner, a wife, somebody to spiritually grow with, somebody to build with. Right? That was conversation one. And I used to be afraid. I think that you think that is that too much to ask, and it's like, no, this is how you get a chance to know what a person's mission is. He's like, what are you looking for? I'm like, marriage, a serious relationship. I'm not looking to chill and Netflix and chill. I'm not looking for none of that. Right? I'm looking to grow and build with someone. So I think from our first date, we were very honest and raw about what we wanted. And I had something to do afterwards, but I didn't want to go. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be 15 minutes late. And I'm on the phone, like, give me 15 more minutes. But I was very impressed. I was very impressed. And I left there thinking, okay. You know, and your friends be calling you, how was the date? How was it? And I was like, well, he's cute. They was like, we know if you ain't attracted to him, you ain't gonna say nothing else. And I'm like, well, I was attracted to him, but the conversation was just mature. It was different. It was very straightforward. And I left thinking, I want to see him again. Like, I definitely want to see him.
I'm sorry, to your credit, Terrence, I like the concept of coming true and honest from the very beginning. I believe that's a very mature model to you know, kind of take hold of being very true and honest in the beginning. That kind of opens up, you know, a sincere and true persona really resonates, and people feel that. You know, when you feel that truth and that honesty, it kind of resonates, and that kind of opens up doors, I believe.
I like it too. I like, Charles Brinkley said, leave the representative at home and let the let the real person show up.
Exactly.
You know, people don't want to give it all up front. Like you said, Anitra, am I saying too much? Am I asking too much? Or are they going to run away if I tell them what I really want? But I mean, you have to be honest. Why play the game if it's not even going in your direction? So
listen, at 40 years old, I'm like, I might be halfway through my life. I don't have time. And we both felt the same way. Like, listen, I don't have the time. And we had a real conversation. And I just think that when you're dating at this age, for the people who are later in love, you know how it gets. It's like, let's get to the point. It's no smoke screens and mirrors. I'm not going to tell you I love cooking because I don't like to cook. I told him that too. He was like, I love to cook. I said, I don't. I said, but I'm sure that there's a place for that. I'm willing to learn at some point if we progress to a certain place. But I don't love to cook. I never did. And so, but he didn't run from that. Even though you was like, yeah, well, we can, you know.
It's better to be honest than to, have expectations of something that's not even going to fit. Like, listen, I could have told you on date one that if you're looking for that meal every day, you got that's
not where you want to be.
Right. Yeah, I like that. That later.
I read an article.
We don't have this time to waste.
Exactly. And I remember reading an article at the time before I met Terrence. I had decided that I was going to date different, and I never heard anybody put it this way, but that the root word of dating is data, and that you should be gathering information. You know, when you're like interviewing. And I'm like, oh, I didn't really think about that. But when you're going out on a date, you should be asking questions. It's fine to kind of tell people they look nice and all of that, but you're supposed to be gathering information. So I was getting my data gathering. On.
So I think your mindset going in was to gather data. Some people's mindset going in is not to gather data. Some people's mindset going in is not to rock the boat so that I get the second phone call or the second date. And so I don't want to gather too much data. I just want to, smile and look nice and be courteous. But we're here to, hey, when we're finding love later in life, we don't have time to waste. And, it just reminds me of, when I told William Byrd, listen, I don't have, you're not going to give me a chance. I said, I don't have any time to waste. I'm almost 50. And when I met him, I'm like, I got more probably behind me than I do in front of me. We can get this done in an hour. because let's talk for an hour and we can get this done and see
So
if
all
we're
it,
a match.
all it took for me was 1 hour. The very first
1 hour.
came after.
And then we were married in what, 5 months?
Yeah.
Something like that.
So
6 months,
the
8
first
months.
hour was my power. They call it the power hour.
Oh Lord. Church.
Being truthful. Yes, as somebody said, being truthful is great.
We were
Honesty
married,
is important.
we were married 8 months. Correction, 8 months. Not
8 months.
Okay, so y'all beat us. We were 15 and we thought we was moving.
Yeah.
Okay, listen.
So how did the dating go? Like you
Hold
said
tight,
you were
wait a minute.
impressed.
Hold tight. Frenchie said I had her in 15 minutes.
You know
What
what?
y'all think?
No. I was stone cold for a couple of months though, until probably the trip to the beach. I was like, whatever.
But listen though, the data finding and the data sharing and all that
Yes.
was happening in that period of time. So, like you said, to your point, Anitra, that investigations, that covering those points where you need to find out
Debbie.
what you really about is key. You're right.
Yeah, because during that 1 hour every day
Well, I'm part of something.
we were learning. We were learning.
I ain't part nothing yet, but I imparted something.
You imparted some things. I did. I mean, I learned a lot through those dating.
Mhm.
So tell me about the dating period. Okay, so we did one of the sessions where we talked about the kind of stages that you go through.
Right.
So how was the dating period? And now, Anitra, you have a daughter, right? So how is it dating later in life when you've already lived some life? You already have, what you do, your job, where you live, your home, your child. And then, so the dating part or the blending part, what was that like? Terrence, you want to talk about that? What was that like? Terrence, what did you like about her?
Well, the dating part was really exciting, because it felt like you were rejuvenated or re-energized, and you just felt like you could, create anything. So we explored going to everything, like from theater to music performances to racetracks to
Nice.
summer events with all of us incorporated, and it sparked your creativity, it sparked your imagination for dating, and it really allowed you to be free
Right.
when it comes to planning and thoughtfulness. And that was the most exciting part about the dating, process in general.
What was going through your head at that first date when you first met her? She said she was impressed. Let's hear your side.
So the first thing I thought was she was beautiful.
No way.
Thank you.
And then once we started talking, I said, this is really going well. I mean, it's, based on some of the past relationships that I've had, this was really a good conversation. It was very, lively. It was very to the point, direct. And we both gathered a lot of information about what each other liked, what each other disliked, what each other wanted in a relationship, what we were looking for long term. So we both came out of it with a really good feel for, who the other person is. And I think that was the most enlightening part about a first date, is that there was so much information that we gathered. It was kind of like, wow, I really know this person after just talking to them for a few hours.
Oh,
wow. Okay.
That's a serious
It was definitely, I didn't want to go. And I don't like to be late for things, but I was late for whatever was next. I was definitely late.
Uh-oh.
She had to
That's
put
saying
some
a
stuff
lot.
on hold.
No, y'all, I'm listen. Anitra's my cousin. She just said a whole lot in saying that.
Yeah.
Well. So how did the blending happen? Once we get to a certain age, we have lived a lot of life, and we've got family, we've got friends, we got the way that we are, in our own home and things like that. How did the blending happen and all that? And then you have a daughter. How did all that happen?
I think for me in the beginning, of course, Amari was 6 when I met Terrence, 7 when we married.
Mm-hmm.
We dated for 15 months. We got engaged in a year and got married in 16 months.
Okay.
It was, so the time felt like it went fast. In the beginning, I told him about Amari. I told him I had a daughter. Terrence does not have any biological children. He became a dad when we became married. So I was curious about how he felt about that. I'm like, oh, you dated a woman with a child. If this goes somewhere, you're ready to be a dad, like depending on how it progresses. And then that's when, we talked about my child. We talked about more children, which at the time I was like, I don't want any more children. And he was like, what happens if we get married? Are you willing? And I was like, well, we'll see. If we get to that place, maybe, right? And then the more that I grew in love with my husband, the more being willing to have another child became, I changed because it was a hard, in the beginning, I was like, yeah, I don't want anymore. And then it went to maybe, then it went to, okay.
Okay.
It was a progressive, growing. And Amari, of course, in the beginning, because it was just her and I, she was used to me. I always kept people away from Amari. When I dated, they didn't really get a chance to meet my daughter. So when she did meet Mr. Terrence, who she affectionately calls T-Pop now, she was, they pulled up really on my godmom. Oh yeah, that's his nickname, T-Pop. We didn't want to do Mr. Terrence, so we came up with our own pet name, but they actually pulled up, her godmom pulled up at the mall. They happened to be coming to the mall when we were leaving. And when Terrence walked out and I saw my daughter and I'm like, wait a minute. So I didn't introduce anybody in that moment. I was just like, okay. But I think after a couple dates, we, at some point, I would say maybe a month and a half in, we all went out and Terrence had bought, I think you bought like me and her bracelet or like some matching, but he bought something for her. We all went out for ice cream. He bought something for her, just introduced us. And after that, it just seemed so natural. Honestly, then we started, my mother-in-law, who was now at the time that we were dating, Amari took to her and we went to church together. We went to Enon together. And it just was it was so natural. Honestly, I can't tell you the moment that all of it, it was natural. And that's how I wanted it to be. And I would bring her every once in a while. And then he wouldn't see her for a while. And then it got to the point, I would say, when we started talking about being married, he wanted to have that type of connection. So when you start talking about, hey, we believe that God is calling us to be together, he wanted to build a relationship with Amari and not just show up as her stepdad, like, boom, here I am. You don't know anything about me. So it was progressive, but I think it was I think that it was nice. She definitely, it made me feel good when she said, I really like Mr. Terrence. Or like she said, when are we going to go, over Miss Trisha's house? At the time, she wasn't my mom. Nice. When are we going to Miss Trish's house for a Sunday dinner? So then we started doing Sunday dinners with his mom. We're very close. And so it just progressed to something that was natural.
Wow. Terrence. So how was it bringing Anitra to your mom and your family? And then Anitra had a daughter. How was that?
Well, that was very interesting because you always worry about whether your mom is gonna, hit it off. And the two of them connected like right away. And it was really just a natural, relationship between the two of them. They're both extroverted, so they both enjoy, talking and socializing and being around people. So there was really just a great connection between the two of them. My grandmother was kind of like, she's been working on trying to find me someone. So
grandma,
finally.
Yeah, grandma was trying to marry you off.
Grandma was like, listen, finally.
Yeah.
Whoever she is.
Yep.
Wow.
Bring her over.
Yeah. So she was really excited, probably even more excited than my mom was. And that's saying a lot because my mom was excited.
Wow.
It's even more excited than that.
So one of the things, when we talk about, I'm sorry.
No, it was good.
Okay. When we talk about going through the different stages as the relationship is forming, at some point there is a period that we call the disturbing period.
That's what I was going to get
at. There's something that shakes it up that makes you think, no, hold up, now wait a minute. Or, you guys are laughing. Did you guys go through a disturbing period?
All go through that. Yes.
During dating or during marriage? During dating or during marriage?
Either one.
Either way.
Well, I think the funny thing is, I think that so me and Terrence are in a lot of ways alike. We have core values. So like our faith, we're Christians. We agree on a lot of things when it comes to the bigger things in life, but our personalities are different. And I asked him this question last week when we played our little date night card game. Was there ever a moment that stood out as being like, like, I don't know if I can do this lady or this woman. I don't know. I laughed because we had a moment where I really realized that Terrence was different in that, when you have a disagreement and I'm like, well, I'm leaving, like I'm going home. I'll talk to you later. And I'll talk to you tomorrow because I don't know what the disagreement was. And I was waiting for my phone to ring. And I said, I'll call you tomorrow when I'm ready to talk. And so I'm kind of used to, the phone ringing and you like, what's up? Are you upset? And my phone didn't ring all day. And I got home and I checked the phone and I was like, let me see if he's going to call.
Is my phone still working? Hello.
And then I was up till 1:00 in the morning, 2:00, and I said, he didn't call. So when I asked him, I said, you don't even know if I got home safe. He said, well, I just pray you stormed out. You asked me for space, so I gave you what you asked for. And I said, Terrence, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to that's not what I meant. He said, well, you got to say what you mean and mean what you say. I'm not putting, like the game plan, that's what you meant. That's not what you said. And I said, guess he told me. I laughed because I was like, he literally did not call me. Right. Like who? And I remember the next day I called and I said, well, do you want to talk? He's like, no, he said, I called to see how, your morning is going. I was like, is he calling me this morning? He didn't call me last night. But that's so a lot of the ways about how I was and some of that brattiness and all of that. And I was like, I guess God's breaking this. He gave you somebody that ain't getting into the tomfoolery.
You know what? Sometimes we're used to throwing our little temper tantrums to try to get
no more. I don't think I did that no more.
He just looked at you laying on the floor having a temper tantrum and said, okay, let me know when you're done.
Amy says,
somebody said, was it hard not to call? Was it hard not to call me? Was it hard?
Yeah, it was very hard.
I didn't like it.
But
what were you going through not calling, like during that time period?
Well, I mean, you try not to think about it as much because you're kind of like you're saddened and frustrated all at once. And then you're realizing that, she's upset, but she doesn't want to talk about it. And I'm the type that's like, if you want your personal space, I'll give you your personal space.
Okay. Okay.
And respect, your space and your time to kind of like reflect and cool down, or to kind of think about it from a different perspective. I'm not the type that forces my opinion onto you. I'm more the type that allows you to think about it and discern and have that level of discernment that kind of says, all right, I thought about this and now this is what I feel when I think about it even more.
Anitra, you were in timeout.
I was in timeout and I kept checking my phone. It was so hilarious. He really ain't called me. That's the moment that I was like, okay, either he don't know the rules to the game, and when a woman say that, you don't ever listen to that statement,
right?
Or I done met my match. Like all of this shenanigans is ready to shut down.
Amy wanted to know how many more times did you try that one again?
None. If I'm upset, I'll say I'm upset. I'll talk to you on the car ride or whatever. But I don't say don't call me. I'll call you. And it's like, all right. I don't think I ever said that again.
I guess you what a mighty good man.
That's right. That's right. Terrence wasn't having it.
He was not having
He was not having it. He wasn't fool. He was
See,
not.
and that's a typical kindergartner teacher. Second grade teacher. Okay, I'm gonna let you sit over there and time out and think about your behavior. And when you're ready to come and act like a real an adult, then you come out the corner.
I was in time out and didn't know it.
Oh my God.
Very
All right.
good. Good
So what do
stuff.
you guys share? Like what makes your relationship work? You guys found love later in life. What do you think makes it work? Like what are the bedrocks or some of the foundation things that make it work for you guys? It's different for everybody, but for the Greens, Team Green, what makes it work?
I'll let you start.
I would say to be a really good listener and to learn how to compromise, to understand each other, from their perspective, and then to come up with a resolution. So I think that there were times in the beginning of our relationship where it would be like, I'm upset I'm leaving. And then I would be like, well, we can't leave. We're still having a conversation. We need to get it all out and have the conversation until it reaches a resolution. And I think that was the biggest stumbling block to overcome, because we had these conversations where they would abruptly end, and it would just feel so empty, that there wasn't any kind of resolution to the conversation. So we really had to work together to blend each other's, communication styles to the point where we would, continue on our conversation, continue through the frustrating moments, get to the point where we were actually, understanding each other deep enough that we could blend our ideas together and come up with a resolution.
Oh, okay. So y'all were going for the synergy, okay, let's keep talking it through and hearing each other out until somewhere we'll find that sweet spot in there. And that takes work. That takes really listening to understand the other person's side, not so much just jumping up and down trying to have your way or make your point. That takes a lot of work. That takes time too.
Yes.
Some of us are impatient.
And I'll add to that, we're open to our communication. So I think for me, the honesty in our relationship really does help. If we don't like something, then we talk about it. It's not, keeping it under wraps and then it blowing up 2 or 3 months later. It's like, hey, let's talk about it. But also knowing what we don't know. I mean, for us, we seek out resources. I'm the resource. Well, my cousin Tracy, I've given her the title of resource queen. I used to be the resource queen. I am very resourceful though. And I am a person, being a social worker, being, connected. I definitely, we sought out financial support. Neither one of us was the best with our finances. We saw counseling for communication. I did want to add that we learned some of it from counseling. And I'm like, listen, I'm a mental health professional. I need to call the therapist. You under communicate, I over communicate. You don't like when I repeat myself, but then I feel like you leave out details and you're not giving me so we had to bring in a person to help us figure out how to improve, because the communication is the lifeline of a relationship. You definitely need your communication to be good. When that breaks down, it definitely can put your relationship, at risk. It's one of the reasons why relationships don't make it. So I'm like, listen, the other areas of our life, we felt like we had the capacity to do it, but the communication was just not something that we were trying, but we weren't getting where we wanted to. And it really did help us a lot.
Absolutely.
I became a better listener, and my husband gives more detail. So, and we're still working on it. It's not perfect.
Say that again.
It's not perfected. So I'm becoming a better listener.
Okay.
And my husband is becoming a better communicator. He's giving more details. It's not just, hey, I'm going out now. It's I'm going to Delaware to hang out with, because it's those kind of details. Okay, if something happens, you're not telling me because you're getting permission. You're telling me because if something happens in a certain state, I need to know where you're at. Where's your husband at? If something happens or whatever, we need to know where each other is at.
So
I don't need to know what time you're coming in. I don't need to know all the details, but like, hey, if I'm going out, say, hey, I'm going to Maryland and visit my girlfriend. I'm leaving about 12. I should be back, so that if I'm not back at a certain time, you know where I'm supposed to be. It's about safety and protection. It's not about that. But it used to be, hey, I'm going out, and I'm like, where? With who?
Right.
So
you know what, but you know what that was? That comes from having 40 years of living. You had 40 years of living and doing your life and doing how you wanted to do it. And he had 40 years of living too. So now that you're finding love later, you have to make those adjustments. And I'm hearing the adjustments was that you had to become a better listener and he had to become a better communicator with the details. And you guys learned that that was an issue. You sought out resources and you got the help.
That's what I like about it.
And so is it better?
Resources.
Is it better? Has it made a difference?
It is. It's a lot better.
Seeking those resources. If you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
If you're not exposed to it, you don't know. So I think the best thing that you did do was seeking the resources to understand better. And that's exactly what I did. I was a resource king.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked at what the experts said. I looked at
who's doing it well.
Who was doing it well.
And what do they do?
What they were doing. And I just basically meshed it all together in a copycat style. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Where certain things fit in, I implemented them, and when they didn't, I let those go. But as they started to fall into place and fit together, it became us. It became what we could, what helped us succeed.
So here's a question for you guys. What if one person wants to get help and the other person like they don't? Because we run into that.
Oh yes, we have
several times. Well, one person
with that part.
is really, I'm trying to get help. What do you say? What do you say?
Yeah.
What do you say to those relationships where one person is really trying and the other person is not? Like, I don't know. What do you say to them?
I would say from a counseling standpoint. I mean, I just think that if your marriage improves or your relationship, because not everybody might be married, you might be in a relationship right now and not married. But if you improve in a relationship, then half of the relationship improved, right? We can only be responsible for our part. If you're working on, because the reality is that I feel like a lot of relationship is really about self-reflection and self-improvement, because you have to be willing to grow. Sometimes our own personal issues come up in our relationship. So if you focus on becoming a better version of yourself, perhaps your spouse might notice the changes in you and be inspired. Sometimes when you change, it impacts the relationship so greatly that problems are solved because now you're not responding. The arguing is decreasing. So I think that if your partner doesn't want to come, then you can go figure out what you need to get for yourself so that you can improve your own mental health. And that still benefits your relationship. Hopefully, I hear that all the time. The other person doesn't want to go. And I think that at some point, if two people don't want to do it, this is where relationships end up hitting, a wall and not being willing to go to counseling. And a lot of times, I have people who come to see me and they say, my partner doesn't want to come. And I say, okay, how are we going to improve your mental health? And how are you going to improve? Because all you can do is focus on yourself. I know it's hard when you want to do it as a couple, but you can still see improvements in your marriage, even when you're changing. And for some people, they might notice, oh, you're less stressed. You're different. You're growing.
Mm-hmm.
The mirror might shine brighter on their imperfections, and they might decide that, okay, I want to change. But it's hard because you can't control the other person.
Exactly. Terrence, what do you think about that? Especially from the guy perspective. Sometimes you find that the woman is running around trying to find the help, we need help. And the guys are like, oh, we're all right. We don't need to talk to anybody. Just give me the guy perspective on getting the help and the resources that you need, whether it's for your communication or just how to manage your finances. Give it to us from the guy perspective. We have to get some help to help you with these areas.
Well, I think that the biggest thing is to have an open mind about it and be encouraged by the words that you hear from your mate about that area, and just really listen to understand and not listen to bring up a defense mechanism or listen to, just to respond, be understanding of exactly the reason and the rationale behind why the services are needed. And then, have a deep internal thought process about that and discover whether that is true for you, whether that's something that you believe after your defense mechanism comes down, something that you believe that is needed for you to grow as an individual. And then from there, seeking that guidance that's needed. I think so many times, as men, we can put up a defense mechanism. No, I don't need this. No, I don't need those services. I don't need somebody to tell me how to do this or how to do that. I can do it on my own. But just to open up your mind and listen more to understand and not to respond, I think is really critical.
And it looks like we might be frozen.
We there?
All right. Well, we're still on.
Okay. Are you guys there?
Yeah, we're still here.
All right.
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So he's gonna bring us in.
Bring us in, Chuck.
Can you hear an echo?
No, we don't hear echo.
Okay, good. Give us a second. Chuck, bring us on. See the camera flashing? Right here. Right here. Can't, hold on a second. We can't hear
You're on, Darlene. You guys are on. Your camera's off.
We're on and our camera's off.
Yes.
Oh, now.
Nah, still off. I don't know what happened on that other side. Maybe you have to come in and come out again.
Okay.
Sorry about this. I didn't mean to jump in, but I knew you couldn't hear me. So,
That's
but
okay.
a great conversation. It's a great conversation.
Yeah.
I just jump in right now for him a little bit, and we do got some comments over here, so we'll get right into it, and we'll just talk a little bit. You got Frenchie. She's talking about. She says, first, know that you are not in a relationship alone. It's two people with different views. I'm sorry, different paths getting together for a specific goal. Know the goal and talk about it. Exactly,
Definitely have to talk about it.
we got the Lovebirds. They're back. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't mean to jump in like that, but here you go.
That's okay.
That's
All
We have no I think that was us, technical difficulty.
Yeah, I think that was us. Are we good?
Yeah, you're good.
All right.
Chuck was reading some of the comments.
All right.
All right.
Okay, guys. All right. We there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, good. Sorry about that. We're back. So we were talking about understanding where the issues are in a relationship and seeking help for them. And I think that's very mature. I think it's extremely mature to understand, hey, we're in this and we're going to do what we can to fix it. And I think both have to be willing to do what you can to fix it. I already know for us, from the beginning, we decided, listen, if we're in this to win it. We're not in it to just get along or, and go along. We're in here to just, we want to have the best. And if you really want to have the best, You're going to do what it takes to be the best. You're not going to just sit there and go through life knowing that our communication is not working. If you can find out the answer, why not find out the answer? So I'm encouraged to hear that you guys have done that. I think it speaks volumes to your commitment to each other and to your marriage. And I think more relationships need to do that. If something's not working, let's get the help that we need to make this thing work. I love that. I love that.
Yes, and we saw financial services. You know, we looked at our credit and said, hey, you know, this is what our goals are. You know, we were able to purchase, you know, our dream home in August of last year but it took us 4 years of identifying what we needed to do to get here. So it's all a process, you know, and we both were like, okay, we're not the best with money, right?
Mhm.
So we're working with advisors now. We're like, okay, we're planning for our retirement. We got a daughter going to college. You know, how should we be splitting up this pot? You know, because we have a time frame that we want to retire. So we don't have the answers. And I'm good for saying, okay, let me call this financial planner. Let me call this person. Let's call, you know, my girlfriend, who is an attorney, to say, hey, we got a quick question for you about something. Can you give us some wisdom on this? And just spend a lot of time around couples. You know, we read books, we invest, we go to marriage ministry every month before COVID, we read devotionals. We really do invest a lot because we want our marriage to be successful. So it's work. It's definitely work. It's not just you get married and all of a sudden your relationship is magical, and it's what you put into it. So we do put in work. I will say that. I feel like we do put in work.
Terrence, how do you love Anitra in her love language? Like, how do you know how to love her in a way that lands for her?
Well, I think the biggest thing that's important for her love language is quality time. Just being around, you know, when I come home from work, just having those opportunities to kind of cuddle and talk and just find out how the day is going and what I can do to make the day even better.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really important, which was a kind of a difficult part for us because I'm more introverted and I'm more of the, you know, I need my time to watch sports and to exercise and to do those types of things.
Excuse me. An only child, so he's used to doing.
Oh.
Yeah, he's used to his own thing, right? That's a whole dynamic. And I was like, well, what's going on? But anyway, continue to talk, because that plays a role. That plays a part in it too. And I have a family of 6 and I'm the oldest. So our little birth order and that situation affects things.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes. You're only child, Terrence? I didn't know that.
Yes.
So it was really your world, right?
Yeah. Terrence's world.
Oh,
Thanks for letting me in.
Wow. So you said coming home, cuddling, and finding out about her day and what you can do to make it better. I heard that part. Did y'all hear that part? If you heard that part, say I heard it. So no, I'm just saying. Even though he's introverted, he knew that coming home, he has to hold her and talk to her.
Yes.
Make his day better. That's huge.
Of course.
It's huge, and it don't cost you anything.
No.
Just time and consideration.
Very valuable.
Yeah, and I didn't listen. I didn't know how much I needed to be held, y'all. I'm serious. I didn't look at this. Look at this.
Oh.
Listen, I got a grip around her waist over here.
Y'all can't. But
we see you.
He keeps me hemmed up. We go to restaurants. He always sits on my side next to me. When we're driving, he has one hand on my leg. And I didn't know that was my need. My sister was born before I was even a year old. So I was never the baby. There was always a baby, and I was always the big sister, the helper. And I never had, and I discovered this when I went through counseling myself after my first divorce. I just wanted to make sure that I was a whole person and that I did the work on me. And so that's what I learned. Like, you were never the baby. You were never sit back. We got it. Somebody else is taking care of it. Turn your brain off. And I never had that part. So I didn't realize how much I needed it until I I started experiencing it. My husband did. He picked up on. He was like, "You got some deficits." So he picked up on my deficits and was like, "But you know what? That's what I want to do anyway. That's how I want to love you anyway." So my deficit, he loves me by fulfilling that. Anitra, how do you love Terrence? How do you love him in his way, in his language?
So we took we found out each other's love language because we went to a marriage retreat, and mine is physical touch and quality time. His is no, mine is first is quality time, physical touch. His first is physical touch and words of affirmation. So it's a lot of, touchy feely hug when you come in, come and watch TV. Okay, let's watch our movie. Let's sit and chill. A lot of physical touch, but also just, checking in on his day, texting him, saying, hey, I'm thinking about you, sending them scriptures, building them up, telling them I'm proud of them as a business owner, telling them, oh, guess what? I got you 3 new clients for flag today.
He's smiling just from your
or just, hey, let's launch our, just really complimenting them, praying for him. When we pray together, we pray a lot. I pray for my husband when we pray together, but just, taking them before God and praying, and saying, cover my husband and continue to do. So I know that does a lot for him. So I do try to do a lot of that, but the physical touch is one of our love languages. So I figured that early on, though, when we dated and all of that, we'd like to do a lot of hand holding, or I'll be like, okay, I'm ready to cuddle. Like, I look forward to just spending, time. And so.
Yes. And he likes those words of affirmation. He had the biggest smile all night. They like those attaboys. My husband likes those words of affirmation too.
Yes. And thanking him for doing certain things and saying, my husband he's a better cook than me, so I love that we don't have traditional roles. It's like, whatever your gifts are, use them. Whatever your strengths are, I'm learning how to cook from him. I have strengths. So we do that. So I'll say, this food is really good. It's chef, you the real MVP, and it's sincere. I'm like, you really do. When people say, oh, this is really good, I'm learning from my husband on how to cook better, but he loves to cook and I never did. So, but I know I need to do it. I have a family. So my mindset about it is shifted. But it's just nice to know each other's love language, because I'm not really a person who just wants, gifts, but then I don't see you, or, hey, I got you a purse and then you off to the races and I don't see you. It's like, I like gifts and he does good with that. But I knew early on, we knew each other's love language. But I guessed it. I think we weren't shocked when we saw what it was.
That's good, because you don't want to, and sometimes once we have lived some life and we come to find love later in life, we know we are in our habits already. And so what you think works may not work. And you have to be able to adjust that, because, if, like I said, if you're used to just giving gifts, and not spending the time, or if I need those words of affirmation and you're around all the time, but I don't hear you say what I love you, I may still feel like you don't love me. So you want to know that person's language and love them in their language, so you're not just throwing up air balls and getting no points for your efforts. You want to make sure what you're doing is landing. That's awesome.
Guys, I love you guys and I love the conversation, but right about now we've got to pay our sponsors. So we got to go to commercial. So give it to us, baby.
Stay with us, guys.
Okay.
Okay, so as always, we want to thank our Feel Good Talk family, Charles Brakely and crew, our CEO, CFO, COO. We want to ask you guys to like and subscribe to Feel Good
Yes.
Talk, Mind, Body, Soul, and Business
Mhm.
on YouTube, and Feel Good Talk on Facebook and LinkedIn. We also would like for you guys to visit our website at love-birds.com. Get yourself a copy of the Lovebirds story.
Yes.
As always, we want to thank our special guests and our Feel Good Talk family and our listeners for tuning in to this fantastic and wonderful opportunity to discuss and conversate
Yes.
about love and relationships.
So we've been talking with the Greens, Anitra and Terrence Green, about finding love later in life after you've always already lived some life and how they make it work. So in our last few minutes, we're just going to kick it over to them and just talk to us about what makes it work for you guys. Everybody's different and every relationship is different. What makes it work for you, Terrence? What makes it work for you, Anitra? What do you guys do to make it work? What can you share with others who are looking to blend and find love later in life?
What would you give to them to kind of help them along in their journey?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I would say there's a few things that really have helped us a lot, and one of them is keeping the lines of communication open. Constantly having those conversations to the point where there's a resolution to them. Learning how to understand with an empathetic ear and not a responsive ear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So really learning, how to empathize with how your mate is feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding how to help them reach a resolution,
Okay.
and knowing that you're both in this together
Yeah.
and
And
that you're both working as one unit.
that's important. That's important. That one unit is so important.
It's so
Mhm.
important.
On making we had to make the adjustment because I remember real early on something that we had to deal with or came up or whatever, and it's like, wait a minute, we are on the same team looking over there at the problem. We're not against each other. It's not us. We on the same team. So we had to, we had to hold hands, sit next to each other, whatever. And how are we together going to deal with the issue that's over there? So I like that, being in it to win it and talking through until there is a resolution. Sometimes things just, you know, it's a you don't come to an answer. You just stop talking about it and you go this way, you go this way. But you guys stay in there, it looks like, and keep talking until what is the resolution? What is the closure? What is the answer? And that's good. That's really helpful too. All right, guys. Any last minute questions you have for the Greens?
They are saying, when God is in it, yes.
Yes.
They are also saying, Tyrone Rick says, may God continue to bless your union.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
Yes.
you so much.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We want to thank you guys for coming on and just giving us a small portion of your story and what you guys do to make the teamwork a dream work. I just love you guys' relationship.
Yeah.
We're more than just acquaintances. We're family. So I glean from you guys. You guys are very inspirational.
Mhm.
What you're doing is phenomenal. Like I
Yes.
said, I really feel like you guys are like first responders. So man, the work that you're doing is above a cut above everything else for me.
Yeah.
For me, it's like right there on the front line. So
Yeah.
I'm encouraged by what you do and what your passions are. So you guys encourage me tremendously. I just
Yeah.
want to let you know that personally, from just a male aspect and a human aspect, what you guys are doing is just tremendous. And in my heart, I just think you guys are the greatest.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, we love you guys
Thank
as
you.
well. I
Yes.
learn a lot from you all. And I just want to say, for the people who are still watching, who are looking for love later in life, to what God has for you is for you. That everybody doesn't find love in their 20s or 30s. It took us, we were 40 and 41 when we met. There's not a timeline on it. And don't throw in the towel. I mean, both of us were getting frustrated by the time we met each other. We had just decided that we were going to have faith to believe that there's someone out here who could, you know, match our version of ourselves and complement each other. And we did find that. And so I just, you know, I hope that people know that no matter how it happens, online, in person, that, you know, if you have the desire in your heart, God knows it. And, you know, hold on to that hope.
Hold on to that faith.
Hold on to that hope.
Yes.
People are saying that they love that you knew your shortfalls, you prayed, you found educating ways to improve your connections. Very good. You got it, working at it.
It's work.
Yeah.
It takes some work, trust me.
Well, we love you guys. And
Love you as well.
Guys.
Thank you for the audience, your questions and your comments. This was great. Thank you for having us on. Hold on to the hope. Yes, Ebony.
Hold on to the hope. Thanks for sharing your love story with us. We love you guys.
Love you
Thank
too.
Love you guys too.
We love people.
And we love.
Have a wonderful evening, guys.
Thank you, guys.
For tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good
Thanks.
night.